Oh, Canada.
Canada is renowned for its high-quality education system, but we also know that today finding a job has become a real challenge. We need to make sure education goes along with professional training that brings together the best business actors and expertise for our students. Ready for the future? Here's where you start. With the Canadian Education Council, play a big part. Paid internships, remote or on-site. Work with global organizations in Canada, United States, UK, Germany, China, UAE, Europe as well. And $35 an hour. NCLEX RN prep for students and registered nurses to help you succeed. Pass the exam and work abroad with ease. Canadian Education Council, empowering your global career journey. For more information, visit our website www.canadianeducationcouncil.org. Email nigeria@canadianeducationcouncil.org. Mobile phone 0703-514-3299. Or visit any Canadian Education Council International Career Center in Nigeria universities near you. This message is brought to you by Global Scholarship Trust, the official partner of the Canadian Education Council in Nigeria.
All right, let's kick off this deep dive. It's all about professional development today. And specifically, we're going to be zeroing in on Canada because that's what you wanted to know more about, right? You were curious about the Canadian Education Council.
The CEC.
The CEC, exactly. And we've gathered a whole bunch of stuff for you. Marketing materials, course lists, program descriptions. We even dug up some info on working in Canada. So instead of just like listing all that out, we're going to try and figure out together how this could all play into your own career goals, you know?
It's really interesting to me how organizations like the CEC sort of spring up. They're filling this specific gap, right? This need that people have to learn new skills, level up, and make themselves more attractive to employers.
Yeah, okay. So let's get down to brass tacks.
Yeah.
Like, who is the CEC, really? Yeah. From their own materials, they call themselves a Canadian organization, and they offer these online courses and certifications. But it's not just like a couple of random things.
No,
They've
right.
got a crazy range, like from e-commerce,
Wow.
English language programs, a whole mountain of professional development courses.
And that's actually what I found super interesting, just going through all this stuff for our deep dive today.
Yeah.
It's that they seem to be targeting a pretty wide audience, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not just one specific learner. It could be someone looking to add some skills, a company needing to train their workforce.
Right.
Or even, someone from another country wanting to work in Canada.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, there's this whole thing about how they help international students with admissions and scholarships.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know about you, but I found that pretty interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And there's even this little snippet about a potential CEC office opening up in the UAE.
Oh, really?
Yeah, though the details were kind of vague. If you're thinking about working in that part of the world, though, that could be something to look into for sure.
Definitely worth putting on the radar.
Totally. But for now, let's get back to the core of what they do, right?
Yeah.
Their courses.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, I was pretty overwhelmed when I first saw their course catalog. It's gigantic. They offer a course for everything. Seriously. Becoming management material, managing across cultures, public speaking, presentations, survival school. I mean, it goes on forever.
It does, yeah.
What do you think? Is that a good thing? Or is it just too much?
You know what? I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It shows that they get how much the working world is changing all the time.
Sure.
I mean, even just a few years ago, who could have predicted some of the skills that are hot right now?
Right.
So I think this massive variety, it might be their way of preparing people for a future where you got to constantly be learning, changing, adapting.
That's a really interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, it's not about learning just one skill anymore. It's about being ready to learn anything.
Totally, totally. Okay, so when you were digging through all this, did anything really jump out at you? Any patterns?
Well, yeah, actually, I noticed they seem to be focusing a lot on two main things: vocational programs, and then this really interesting Work in Canada program.
Work in Canada. All right, so let's break those down a bit. What about the vocational stuff? What stood out there?
Well, it was how well their programs lined up with industries that are booming in Canada right now.
Yeah.
They've got accounting, business management, dental, digital design and marketing, healthcare, HR.
Wow, so they're really tuned into what's going on in the Canadian job market.
It seems like it, yeah. Like they analyzed it and then built these programs to meet the specific demands.
Makes sense. And they've got both certificates and diplomas, which is good because some people just want that focused knowledge fast.
Exactly.
But then you have that Work in Canada program, right? For someone who maybe wants to make a bigger change, even relocate to Canada. That's got to be appealing.
It definitely is. They walk you through the whole process, like accreditation, bridging programs, getting properly licensed. It's basically a roadmap for anyone with skills who wants to build a career in Canada.
Whoa, hold on a sec. What are bridging programs?
Oh, yeah, good question.
I've heard the term, but like, what are they really?
So basically, they're designed to help people who trained in another country meet Canadian standards for their profession.
Oh, okay.
Because sometimes the skills or qualifications you get in one place, they don't transfer perfectly to another country, right?
Right.
So these bridging programs, they fill in those gaps, making sure professionals are up to date and qualified to work in Canada.
So it's all about setting people up for success, even if they're coming from a different background.
Exactly. It's not just about getting them into the country. It's about helping them build a lasting career. And from what I've seen in these materials, that's really what the CEC seems to be all about.
It's like a holistic approach, not just training, but also that guidance and support to build a whole career path.
Precisely. And that brings us to a really important question for you listening. What are your own career aspirations?
Ooh, good one.
Yeah, are you thinking about like adding skills to your current job? Trying out a totally new path?
Or maybe even that move to Canada.
Exactly. We've covered a ton of info here, but it all boils down to what you personally need and want.
Yeah, and to help you figure that out, we've got links to the CEC website and their full course catalog so you can really dive in and see what's what.
Awesome.
But before you do that, before you get lost in all those courses, let's take a step back and really think about what all this means for you, for your future.
Let's do that in the next part.
Okay, so we know the CEC has a ton of programs, but something that really stood out to me is how they seem to be kind of predicting what's going to be big in the job market, you know?
Yeah, like they're thinking ahead. Not just what skills are hot right now, but what people are going to need down the road.
Oh, that reminds me, we talked a bit about that possible CEC office in the UAE. That could be a huge clue about where they see the future of work going.
For sure.
Yeah.
The UAE, it's like this hub for global business and all this cutting-edge innovation.
Yeah.
And we don't have all the details, but if the CEC is setting up shop there, it could mean they're really serious about supporting professionals in these super fast-growing markets.
It definitely raises some interesting questions.
It does.
Might be worth digging into that more, especially if you're thinking about working internationally. But, okay, let's get back to their main programs. I'm curious about this practical skills thing. They talk about it a lot, but what does it actually look like?
Well, just look at some of their course titles.
Okay.
Stuff like Managing the Virtual Workplace, Conflict Resolution, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. These are all things people are dealing with right now on the ground in their jobs.
Real world stuff.
Exactly. And those vocational programs we talked about, they're all geared towards getting you those industry recognized certifications and diplomas.
Right.
It's not just about theory, it's about having the actual credentials employers want to see.
That makes sense. And when you put that together with their Work in Canada program, it's a pretty clear picture, right? They're not just helping people learn, they're helping them build entire careers.
Exactly. It's like they're handing you all the pieces of the puzzle and showing you how they fit together.
Okay, I get that. But what about someone who's not necessarily looking to move to Canada? How does the CEC help them?
That's where those other professional development courses come in.
Ah, okay.
You know, those skills that are useful no matter what industry you're in or what your job is. Communication, leadership, project management, even things like design thinking.
Yeah.
They have courses for all of that. And don't forget, it's all online, all flexible.
That's a big plus.
Huge. It means anyone can take these courses no matter where they live or how busy their schedule is.
It's like they're making professional development accessible to everyone.
Totally. So we've seen how the CEC is there for both individuals and organizations. But let's get back to you for a minute. What are you hoping to achieve in your career?
Good question.
Yeah, what areas do you want to grow in? What skills would make you stand out in the job market? Or maybe just help you rock your current role even harder?
What do you think people should be focusing on?
Honestly, I think the best thing to do is really sit down and think about those questions. Then take a look through the CEC's catalog with your own goals in mind. See if anything clicks for you.
And remember, we've got those links for you to their website, the course descriptions, everything.
Yep, all the resources are right there.
So you can really dive deep and do your own research.
And don't forget about that little tidbit about a potential office in the UAE.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Might turn out to be nothing, but you never know. It could be a great lead.
It's all about being proactive, resourceful.
Exactly. Which, you know, those are professional development skills too when you think about it.
True. Okay, so this has been super helpful, but it brings up a bigger question, right? The whole work landscape is changing so fast.
All the time.
It's not like you get a degree and you're set for life anymore.
Nope.
You got to be constantly learning, adapting to new technology, being open to new ways of thinking.
And the CEC, it seems like they get that, their whole approach to professional development, it fits with how the world of work is evolving.
It's like they're giving you the tools,
Yeah.
but it's up to you to use them, to explore, to learn, to grow.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So that wraps up part 2 of our deep dive into the Canadian Education Council.
Stay tuned for part 3, where we're going to tackle something pretty big: how technology is shaping the future of work. All right, so we've really dug into the Canadian Education Council, right? Their courses, the programs, and how all that could fit into your career. But there's this whole other layer we got to talk about: the connection between technology and the future of work. Like, it's this big thing that's constantly changing, and it affects everyone no matter what you do.
Yeah, and it's something the CEC seems to be really on top of. You see it all over their course catalog, all these offerings that directly deal with the rise of tech in the workplace.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, things like digital transformation, managing the virtual workplace, even cybersecurity. These aren't just trendy buzzwords anymore. They're essential skills, especially with everything becoming so digital.
Right. I was actually looking at their digital design and marketing programs, and I was impressed.
Oh,
They're getting into UX design, e-commerce management, all sorts of digital marketing strategies. It's like they're acknowledging that, yeah, the future is digital, and they're making sure people have the skills to thrive in that world.
Smart move on their part.
Yeah.
I think a lot of organizations are just reacting to the changes as they happen. But the CEC, it seems like they're trying to anticipate what skills are going to be in demand years down the line.
Which makes you wonder, what will the workplace even look like in 10 years? What skills are we going to absolutely need? And how can we prepare for all that?
Those are the big questions, right? And while we don't have all the answers, I think looking at resources like what the CEC is offering, it gives us some pretty good clues.
Totally. It's a good reminder that learning doesn't stop after you graduate or finish a course.
Nope.
It's got to be continuous, especially in today's world.
Absolutely.
No.
So think about your own field, what you do. How is tech already changing things? What skills are going to become even more important in the future?
Maybe the CEC already has a course that can help you, or maybe it's a sign you need to start looking at other options.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Remember, our deep dive here, it's just a starting point. We wanted to give you a taste of what the CEC is all about, but it's up to you to go deeper, explore more, and see what really connects with your goals.
Yeah, and we've got those links for you to their website, the course catalog, all that good stuff. So don't be shy. Go check it out. And hey, if you have specific questions, reach out to them directly. Why not?
The information's out there. You just got to be willing to go after it.
Which, when you think about it, that's a professional development skill in itself, right? Being proactive, taking initiative.
Absolutely. And that brings us to something we've been touching on throughout this whole deep dive. This idea that work is changing, evolving all the time.
Yeah, it's not static anymore.
No way. In today's world, you got to keep learning. You got to keep growing, keep adapting.
If you want to stay ahead of the curve, stay relevant.
Exactly. The CEC, they seem to understand that, and they're providing the resources. But ultimately, it's on you to take that first step.
To explore, to learn, to push yourself.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into the Canadian Education Council.
We hope you found it helpful, maybe even inspiring.
Thanks for joining us.
Remember, keep learning, keep growing, and who knows what amazing things you'll achieve.
For more information, visit our website www.canadianeducationcouncil.org. Email nigeria@canadianeducationcouncil.org. Mobile phone 0703-514-3299. Or visit any Canadian Education Council International Career Center in Nigeria universities near you. This message is brought to you by Global Scholarship Trust, the official partner of the Canadian Education Council in Nigeria.